very good overall. Yeah, the one thing that I'm noticing here a lot from Carlos Prates is the fact. So Carlos Prates is preparing for a fight at UFC 319 against Geoff Neal. We're going to go ahead and review some of his sparring footage. It's very, very interesting. But before we do, all I ask is for you guys to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Without further ado, let's go ahead and review this sparring footage from Carlos Prates right here. Starting off in the 50-50. It's a close stance fight. Both of these guys are fighting from the southpaw stance. Good jab there. Not all the jabs have to land, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes just getting the jab off on your opponent's guard is very, very important to establish distance and also to create an offensive scheme. Nice feint there. Buys him a little time. Nice leg kick there. Great disengagement. Ooh. He circled into that kick. Some good stuff here from Carlos Prates. Obviously, Carlos Prates' his biggest strength in the UFC so far, obviously, is his striking. What I would like to see Carlos Prates do a lot more, in my honest opinion, is just try to land a little bit more combination punches. Right there, going for a jab. Little combination there. 1-2. So obviously Geoff Neal, strong grappler. Really, Geoff Neal is a very, very good overall type fighter. Very, very good overall. Yeah, the one thing that I'm noticing here a lot from Carlos Prates is the fact that he doesn't throw that many combinations. I would like for him to throw like a 1-2 and then a roundhouse kick or something. But we do see that Carlos Prates here just do a lot of like singular type attacks. Maybe he's trying to work on his accuracy or something. His coaches here is telling him to smother a little bit more. Barajo's telling him not to be scared of his opponent, to be more confident. Good feints. Buys himself a lot of time to circle back into the center of the octagon. Good jab. Not all the jabs have to land to your opponent's face. Landing on your opponent's guard is very important to creating an offensive scheme. Little dirty boxing, little dirty striking there. Good control. That was a very, very good control. We saw Carlos Prates literally grab his opponent's hand, move it out the way, and try to go for an attack. Great physicality. Ate a knee, but it's okay. Able to get the reset. Carlos Prates here is breathing with his mouth open. This is round number 3. Maybe that repositioning might be maybe a not so good thing. All right, they finished their sparring here. All right, so some very interesting things here that we're noticing from Carlos Prates. First and foremost, man, if I'm a professional fighter, I wouldn't really be releasing too much sparring footage leading up to a match. But hey, Carlos Prates is that guy. He probably doesn't really fear Geoff Neal. He's probably super confident in this matchup. Some of the things that I'm noticing right now from Carlos Prates is the fact that he is trying to land a lot of singular shots. We don't know what his focus here is in sparring. So the thing is, when sparring, there's a lot of things that people just don't know about. Sometimes there is a sparring session where a fighter might just be working, on accuracy, and they just might be trying to land like these singular shots. Sometimes there's a sparring session where it's more focused on trying to land combinations while your opponent is free to do whatever he wants. That's mainly for positioning. Now, in this sparring footage specifically, if this isn't, a sparring session that is 100% focused on just accuracy, I would 100% be concerned for Carlos Parates, because it kind of does really seem that he is not following up on shots, especially once he lands clean. So Carlos Barajo here, if for those of you guys that don't understand what he's saying, he's telling him to pretty much be more confident to try to land after he lands a very accurate shot, which is some of the things that I'm mentioning right now. Like, it kind of does seem like he's not following up on shots, and he's not trying to land combination punches for whatever reason. Maybe he's tired. Maybe this was at the end of a very, very long training session. A lot of context that we don't have in this video. But in my honest opinion, from what I'm seeing right now from Carlos Parates, it seems like he is in a very, very good position. It seems like he is, managing his gas tank very, very well. He's able to move, and pretty much not gas out for 3 rounds, which is exactly what, is going to be against Geoff Neal, since he's going to be a co-main event for the Dricus versus Khamzat matchup. The one thing that I will say that I would love to see Carlos Parates do is kick more, man. I would like to see him kick. He is a super tall, lanky guy, and he has such a great reach. I don't really understand why he doesn't try to implement more kicking into his game, since everybody knows that he does have a Muay Thai base. Now, I would like to also see him kind of sit down on his base a little bit more, not looking to reposition a lot, because he's able to counter very, very well. If he's able to counter very, very well and just let his opponent be offensive, he could definitely go into kind of a rhythm or kind of a base or system that's solely surrounded about being a offensive or a defensive counter fighter, just letting his opponents lay off some offense. He goes for a defensive type of engagement and then follows up on some counters of his own, trying to land some offense while his opponents are being offensive as well. That's some of the things that I would love to see Carlos Parates do. Just try to check some kicks and then go for a switch kick, or check a kick and then go for a cross into a hook, or just something of that nature. It's just what I would like to see Carlos Parates do. We noticed that in the sparring footage, he repositions a lot. And I'm not saying that that's a terrible thing, but I think that he could definitely benefit, in my honest opinion, from just trying to counter, or from just trying to just sit in his base a little bit more. We can see here at the end of this round that he's completely freaking gassed. He's breathing off, like, literally from his mouth, which is, depending on how you look at it, concerning. But personally, I think that Carlos Parates has the capabilities to implement a lot of what I said into this video. It's just all up to him, and I think that Carlos Parates is probably going to end up beating Geoff Neal in this matchup. It's just probably just going to go down to whether or not he's able to maneuver or to pretty much hold up with the cardio in this matchup. But not a bad sparring footage. We saw a lot of great things from Carlos Parates, but I just think that he needs to work on a couple more things, so that he doesn't gas out completely towards the end.